In this video, we're going to be talking about the meaning of zero. Remember that using integers can be a mathematical way of saying that two things are opposite directions from a chosen point. For example, when we talk about sea level, it means anything that's in the positive are things that are above sea level. Anything that's in the negative are things that are below sea level. In little bubbles. So you have to decide on a unit of measurement before you can know what the integers mean. For example, does +3 mean 3 meters above sea level, 3 feet, or 3 miles? Elevation tells how high up something is. Sea level is the zero of elevation. If I'm talking about how the elevation of land, it's talking about how high a mountain is, different mountain ranges. And when we talk about sea level, that's where the water rests. And some things may be above sea level, some things may be below sea level. But sea level is the zero in this big number line. So let's talk about what each integer means in the context of elevation. +4 would mean 4 feet, or 4 miles, or 4 meters, or 4 whatevers above sea level. -2, -2, would mean 2 below sea level. 0 would mean exactly at sea level, and -1,000 would mean super far down compared to all these other numbers, because that's 1,000 below sea level. So what does -3 mean for temperature? Whichever scale is chosen, -3 means 3 degrees colder than 0. So if you have your thermometer here, and your thermometer goes all the way up to, depending on your unit of measurement and how set your thermometer is, it goes all the way up, it's also going down. So -3 would be below 0, or 3 degrees colder than 0. And +3 would mean 3 degrees warmer than 0. Integers are also used for time zones. The time zone in London, England is 0. Units being used there are in hours because you shift by 1 hour for each time zone. So let's talk about what the integer means in each context. So +5 for temperature, +5 means 5 degrees above sea level. 5 degrees above 0. -3 for a time zone means 3 hours behind London. +4 for elevation means 4 units above sea level. 0 for temperature means exactly at 0. 0 for the time zone means being in London, or that time zone. And 0 for elevation means being at sea level. When integers are used to mean opposite directions, the point chosen as 0 doesn't really matter. Sea level didn't have to be the chosen level, nor did London, England have to be chosen as the 0 time zone. It's just the one that we picked. Sea level's super convenient because that's where the water sits and that's consistent relatively. Waves and such. Do you think that 0 degrees Fahrenheit has to be 0 for the temperature? No, we could have chosen something else, but then we'd have to change all the other scales. Remember that for Celsius, 0 is freezing. In Fahrenheit, that's below freezing, or 32 degrees. Oh my goodness, check this out. The two most common temperature scales are Fahrenheit and Celsius, and the scales use different points as 0 degrees. So we can see that we have 0 here and 0 here. Both 0 and 100 were chosen based on water in the Celsius scale. 0 degrees Celsius is where ice becomes water, and 100 degrees Celsius is the temperature at which water becomes steam. -40 is where both of these are exactly equal because they have two different ranges. Because for water to be boiling, you have to be way up here on the Fahrenheit scale. So which is warmer, 0 degrees Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit? Well, if we look at 0 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius is warmer than 0 degrees Fahrenheit. If I look at 100 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius is way warmer. And it's way warmer because you can see where different things sit. And then we want to look at 0 degrees Celsius and Fahrenheit. And that's right there. So those would be the same. When the gains and losses are the same, they cancel each other out and you get $0. Now we're talking about money. When the amounts that cancel are equal in other contexts, you get 0 too. For example, protons and electrons, when those are equal, there's no electrical charge. If you took the same amount of money in your bank account as you took out, then your balance would change $0. If your team scored the same number of points as the other team, that means that no one's winning, no one's losing. We're at a tie. So let's talk about which integer is represented in the amount. In letter A, if there are the same number of electrons as protons, that means we have a 0 charge. If there are 4 protons and 4 electrons, we still have a 0 charge. If there are 4 protons and 5 electrons, that means 1, 2, 3, 4 protons and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons. These cancel, these cancel, these cancel, these cancel. There's 1 negative, which means -1. If there are 2 more protons than electrons, we don't have to draw the picture. I know that there are 2 more protons, so the charge is +2. If there's the same amount put in to the account as taken out, the charge is 0. And if 3 more points are scored for the team than against the team, that means that we're ahead by 3. Hooray! I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of the day.